Hello, I'm Dr. Sam Hancock of the Emerald Planet and Emerald Planet TV. We come to you on a week-to-week basis from Washington, D.C. in the United States as we look around the globe in 144 different nations, looking for those 1,000 best practices, the technology, services, and products that are making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And as we have a planet of 9 billion people by 2038 and possibly 12 to 13 billion by the end of this century, how are we going to be able to take care of all these people on planet Earth? And that's what Emerald Planet's all about. We come to you looking at the solutions, the best practices from around the globe as we create the Emerald Planet. Hello, welcome to the Emerald Planet. We're making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And seeing the long-term impacts of climate change. We're glad to have you. Thank you for being with us.
Talking about the Gambia on the African continent, why it's important, strategic location, but the importance is to identify and train, educate, motivate the women that are part of the Gambia within Africa. And we have a woman that's actually started what's called the Woman Boss, and she's part of YPEC, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But this is Awamary Khan. She's a founder of Innovate Gambia and the Woman Boss. And we're going to be talking about why it's so important to have space for women to come in, learn, network, and then go back out into the community. But Awamary, thank you for being with us, and tell us a little bit about the Woman Boss, but also YPEC itself.
Sure. The Woman Boss is a creative space for innovation, entrepreneurship, and leadership in the Gambia. And it's for women and girls, period. I always say it's unapologetically for women and for the feminine. But I think what's important is to make sure that we build spaces for women only. For WebPeg, it's a women's program definitely founded under the the African Investment Forum that we wanted to hold in Dubai. And so we gathered all these women together and have the same vision. And the vision is, how do we help women, not only in Africa, but all over the world, to showcase them and feature them and help them find resources and connect them to programs and each other and create a sisterhood that's global.
Now, looking at the map of Africa, it's 54 states, very diverse cultures, languages, natural resources. I mean, diversity is just everywhere. Why is it so important at this time in history that Africa now picks itself up and moves forward as a continent, but also as nation states, as a leader for the rest of the world?
Absolutely. If you look at right now, all over Africa, majority of the population, I think it's been said that the last time I checked was about 60% of the African population is actually made up of youth. And the issue that we have, a lot of youth, especially in West Africa, they're taking the back way. They're doing the illegal migration, causing the migration crisis into Europe. And so right now it's the time to create some of these resources and invest in them, to say that, you know what, you can make it here. You don't have to travel to find greener pastures, because majority actually don't even make it. So how can we create all these resources for them to know that they can make it at home? And that's pretty much why Africa is now.
Now, looking at the Gambia, it's a very narrow country. It's almost extends all the way into the heart of Africa. But yet, in some ways, it's a linchpin for this West African area. So why the Gambia, and how do you see it as it's taking its rightful place in this 21st century, as the African continent soon will be 2 billion people, not just 1 billion?
For sure. So the Gambia is the smallest country in Africa right now. The Gambia is home for me as well. My dad is Gambian. I grew up in the Gambia, and it's pretty much fed through tourism. So pretty much what makes its economic opportunities are created through tourism. But right now, if you look at the Gambia as a whole, why it's important to go back there, it's what I mentioned about youth. We have a huge migration crisis that's happening where we have the youth taking, if you look at obviously the map of it, you'll see the Atlantic Ocean and you can pretty much sail right through very easily into Spain. So you have a lot of people going in through Northern Africa, then into Spain and Italy. And so there's so many resources right now that are being deployed to make sure that that's being at least mitigated in this case, to mitigate the crisis that's happening. So.
Now, looking at space, we're talking about space, and I like your sign here. And if you can just tell our audience what it really says, and then why
Sure.
space, and why create this, and actually across the Gambia and probably in many other countries in the future.
Sure. So the sign says the harder you work, the more luck you have.
Mm-hmm.
And I am a definitely firm believer of that, because things just don't happen. You can't just say, okay, I'll just sit at home and do nothing and things are going to happen. Obviously, you got to work hard for it. And I'm a firm believer. I actually want to prove, because I worked really hard to have and be able to afford everything that I have. But the space that we created is actually, this space that you're looking at is actually the first tech hub in the Gambia. It's for all entrepreneurs. In this case, it's called the Disruptive Lab. So just you're familiar with that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for both male and female. We actually have two spaces. We have upstairs and downstairs. And we have, for conference seating, we have it available for small conference setting. We have it for public spaces, and for entrepreneurs to co-work, to collaborate and work together.
Looking at your outreach, and you're constantly educating, enticing, motivating, moving people in different directions. But the whole thing about it, you really are engaged in what it is you're doing. And so, surrounded by all these women, different ages, different educational backgrounds, different resources they have in their hands, what is a message that you're giving them through the woman boss, is that you can do it?
Exactly that. They can do whatever they put their heads on. Right now, before I went in, there were other programs that were there to help entrepreneurs, some of the programs that were there to help entrepreneurs, especially for women entrepreneurs. But the thing is, it's just not an African woman that curated it for them. So as a person, myself as an African woman curating something for them, you actually see their struggles, you see their challenges, and can kind of relate. So it's a step further. And what I preach to them, not even preach, but what we talk about, it's not only business, it's personal things that they're going through in their lives. Some of them have gone through sexual violence. Some of them are going through abusive relationships that we were not ready to at that time. I was thinking it would be an easy peasy, obviously, coming in, but then I became somebody that they can trust and had, trust and share life experiences that I don't think that they would open up to anybody else like that.
And looking at the way that you're actually educating and training, it seems like it's informal. You're bringing in others from the community to be involved. How is this different than the classical education that mostly is across all of the Gambia and much of Africa, actually?
Sure. This is very, we want to say it's open learning, as much as open learning as possible. We have a certified trainer that actually holds most of our training, for the women entrepreneurs specifically. Additionally, if you look at the picture here, that's actually my husband and staff. This is actually staff, some of our staff that manage the Woman Boss, that do the Disruptive Lab, and then other initiatives that we work on all over all above the Innovate Gambia umbrella. And so we just wanted to make sure that it's not the usual education. Right now, if you look at even in the United States or even in Europe, that traditional way of schooling is actually fading. And you want to obviously have that, but additionally you want to have hands-on training to learn further and than the classroom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're doing it in a way that actually women are interacting with and training other women. So it's
Absolutely.
like you're setting up a whole vast network of mentors, but they're growing and learning and mentoring all at the same time. So how do you balance that? So you keep, so you have the mentoring, the training, the education, the networking. How do you do all that simultaneously and have it so that it really is part of a unified whole?
Sure. So if you look at the current picture right now, this is from cohort 2, some of the women that are obviously doing some hands-on work from training. You'll see the corporate trainer. And then what happens is we have 8 days of full, intense, rigorous training that are full 8-hour days that the women are committed to. And then after that, we have a 3 months of mentorship. And what makes the program very unique is that I actually connect them to diaspora mentors. So all my mentors right now, they're in the United States. It's my network. Obviously, I grew up there. And so this is a way to actually connect Africa to the outside world. So you have people that want to maybe even perhaps invest in them, look at Africa. Maybe they might not have had that connection, but now they can. So there's somebody in North Carolina having conversations with somebody in the Gambia and having to mentor them through things that they could be going through, or business or personal. I think it's just creating that unique guidance that usually you don't get to see that.
Mm-hmm. Now, looking at these young ladies, they're wearing your T-shirts, of course. Now, as they're going out into the community or back into their own homes, what are
Mhm.
these T-shirts actually as kind of your walking billboard, if you will? But you have these
Sure.
ambassadors in the home, in the community. How are they now starting to change, starting to use some of the ideas and concepts that you have just by being in the community and being back home?
Sure.
And we got to be
Um,
quick. We're going to be running out of time.
Absolutely. So I think for them, it's embracing the sisterhood, and that's exactly what I wanted to do, is just to embrace the sisterhood. And right now, these women did not even only attend class. Now they attend each other's birthday parties. They attend each other's weddings and so on. And that's exactly what I wanted to do, is create more sisterhood, but beyond business.
And just carry this further as far as this networking. It's kind of the euphemism, the good old girl network. How are you
That's right.
establishing that, and how will you maintain that? And we have only about 35 seconds to do that.
Right now, we are actually starting cohort 3 in August, so it's just going to grow. We're going to have 2 cohorts every year. That's the plan. And I'm just hoping that the word of mouth for these women coming in, all of them want to be a part of this. So that's all.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, looking at this, so we're going to end with this image because we have the women boss right here and all these ladies. What do
Yeah.
you think you see for the dynamics and the importance of the women sitting right here over the next 5, 10, 15 years? And we got to be quick.
I just see growth for them. Really, this is a strong group. They've gone through lots of personal obstacles for them personally, but I can see that it's only going to be growing. For some of them, there's so much cooking already, and I'm so excited for their future and what they can do, and the more galvanization of women coming together to create more opportunities for each
That's
other.
fantastic. This is Awamary Khan, founder of Innovate Gambia, the woman boss. Thank you for being with us as we create the Emerald
Thank you.
Planet.